some dirty deals, but it is hard to believe that all of that he funds came from the music. Maybe I might be wrong, maybe not. But whatever happens, you need to watch your children closely. Not just the music, the ones who are into movies, the ones who are into comedy. A lot is happening around us, a lot, and we all need to open our eyes. Be vigilant. Report whatever thing you feel is not normal. Report whatever thing you feel is out of place. You know, something you look at. This is not supposed to be here. This is not supposed to go. All right. So report it. And there's also the need to educate your children. I mean, home education, parental education. Give your children some guidelines. If you do not know how, consult professionals whose duty is to educate them properly in the line of the careers they want to choose. And they're not necessarily, shouldn't be those who want to make use of your son's or your daughter's talents. All right, so I was propped up to give this pep talk this morning. All right, so it is taking a chunk of our time, so quickly let's dive straight to it without wasting any more of our time. It's Let's Talk on 99.5 Fush FM. For those of you who are out of town or you're just driving out of Port Harcourt, do not worry. If you have data, you go on Facebook, www.facebook.com/wish99.5fm, and you can watch, not just listen, you can watch us live as we talk about these issues. All right, as we talk about the issues that I'm going to point out now, they'll be on the table of discussion this morning. All right, so get ready. We are ready to roll. On Let's Talk this morning, Tinubu's academic records. APC tackles PDP as a U.S. court grants Atiku's request. Tinubu's academic records. APC tackles PDP as a U.S. court grants Atiku's request. All right. Anti-party activities. Court stops PDP from dissolving Rivers executives. Anti-party activities. A court stops PDP from dissolving Rivers executive. And petroleum pump price, pressure on petrol and diesel prices as crude hits $97.17. Petroleum pump price, pressure on petrol and diesel prices as crude oil hits $97.17. Those are some of the things we'll be discussing this morning. If you have joined us, we're ready to roll. I have my guests already here in the studios. You go first with Chief, and then Honorable is a publisher, is a former House of Representatives member. Honorable Obonawuke is in the building. Thank you very much, sir. Good morning.
Good morning. Sorry for coming late.
All right. And you are one of our guests because at some point we'll allow you time to ventilate, to speak, to drop your thoughts on issues that I'll be discussing this morning. So we're ready to roll this morning. First on our table, quickly, the All Progressives Congress on Wednesday, yesterday, ridiculed the efforts of the People's Democratic Party's presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar, to obtain the academic records of President Bola Tinubu from the Chicago University, United States, describing it as an expedition in futility. The ruling party said it had nothing to fear, as President had always posted that he had nothing to hide. Now, here is the talking point. Now, the judge in blah blah blah. No, Article sought by the document sought by Article 3's counsel, Angela Liu, includes the record of admission, substance of at the university, dates of attendance, including degrees, awards, and honors attained by Tinubu at the university, amongst others. In spite of the development, okay, so where is that place that I'm looking for? All right, so it says Chicago has also written several to say that the man has nothing. Okay, it's from us. Nothing has changed. There's no cause for alarm. It is expedition in futility. Now, what I'm saying and what was mentioned, I'm trying to quickly scan through this publication. I've not gotten. I have it. It said Atiku and PDP are chasing shadows. The president's academic records had no probable value to Atiku's case in court. As Supreme Court, you can't plead new evidence outside what you front-loaded at the Court of First Instance, which is the Court of Appeal, which has decided on the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal. Do you agree with this, Honorable?
In any case, I know that men must seek justice, but men should also be fair in seeking justice. This recourse of course, will not be the first time. But I also recall that under Buhari there were questions as to what his qualifications were like. But I think that where we have come, honestly, when an election is over, just congratulate the other person and go. I mean, all this whole thing, look, these people were not enemies. But there's a way you pursue this thing and they become life enemies. What's all this whole talk about certificate say, certificate no say? It doesn't make sense. Certificates don't win elections. So you want to come through the back door and win an election like that?
But that doesn't mean that if I feel
what I think is that also it depends on what you are pleading or what you have put forward, front loaded as they are saying. In this country, even a man with school cert is competent to run an election. You know, but the point I'm just trying to make is we need to think in terms of national stability, in terms of our national image, and sometimes in terms of our personal relationships, you know, so that you don't hurt everything just like that, you know. Now, nothing significantly, nothing is likely to change. The school has insisted that what's his name, Aswaju, was in their school. They have attested to the fact that he was brilliant. Even attested to the fact that he graduated earlier than he should. So what's this whole talk about certificate says? It doesn't make sense to me, honestly. But since there's victory at all costs, you know, for those who have run an election, then I don't run the full hog. But I'm just thinking all the money you throw away hiring lawyers abroad. I don't think the fact that the school says, look, this man went to a school is sufficient. So what are you probing and probing? What do you want to get? Also, the school lied to you. Okay, if we lie in Nigeria too, is that how they lie abroad? It doesn't make sense to me.
Again, doesn't this bring up the talk about discharging, making sure that equity is done, justice is achieved before a president is sworn in Nigeria? Because we've had this talk over and over again. We need to retweak our electoral laws to make sure that before a president is sworn in as president, the courts must have decided, I mean from the Supreme, from the appeal to the Supreme Court, before that person is sworn in.
What I'm just trying to make is that it's absurd. It become commonplace in Nigeria. You know, challenge election results. Very absurd. You know,
they do challenge election results in America.
No, listen, because what they do, naturally, you recount the results. You know, sometimes those ballots are still there, and if the ballots have integrity, you know, meaning that both of us can trust that what is in the ballot is what is in the ballot. And they do some recounting. Take their time to recount and make sure that yes, that's what we have. Now, but well, you see, I'm not saying those who seek justice should not. Honestly, they have a right to all kinds of things, including accusing me of anti-party. Yeah, they have a right. Now, but I'm saying that we should become more democratic and seek better democratic conduct. We should become much more, you know, attuned to the fact that this is like a sports, like a football match. You win sometimes, you lose sometimes. That's the point I'm just trying to make. You know.
All right. Quickly, if you just joined us, we're live on Facebook, www.facebook.com/wish99.5 FM. Port Harcourt, if you wish, but hey, wish 99.5 FM is okay. A federal high court sitting in Abuja on Wednesday restrained the national body of the People's Democratic Party from dissolving the state executive of the party in River State over alleged anti-party activities. Delivering judgment, Justice Yangakwa said he found that the case of the plaintiff Desmond Akao succeeded on merit. Now, Akao, Rivers PDP chairman, has sued the party, and Dr. Yachai, former or past national chairman of the party, alongside members of the National Working Committee and National Executive Committee, as first and second defendant, respectively. Now, the plaintiff also joins the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) as third defendant in the amended originating summons marked blah 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 and filed on March 9 by his counsel Joshua Musa SAN. Akao sought that the court's determination on whether, going by the provision of Section 223 of the 1999 Constitution and Article 47, subsection 1 of the Constitution of the PDP as amended in 2017, the Rivers SEC was not entitled to serve its term. It said another members of the Rivers PDP SEC and ward executive committees were elected and sworn in pursuant to the state Congress held on March 21, 2020, and therefore entitled to complete their 4-year term, which expires on about May 22, 2024. And the national, I mean, how do you react to this publication first and this news?
Well, since the matter out of the court and decision has been taken, first we need to congratulate those who have won. They were sought to prevent some acts of illegality from being committed in the name of anti-party, because at that point in time, whereas they were entitled to their belief, your attempts to muscle them out on grounds that they were doing anti-party, because there was no reason why that case should have originated, but it originated from that perspective. Now, I think that the judiciary is the last hope, as we say, for the common man, and that those decisions arriving from the lips of the judge have been taken. What you have is that Akao and all other members of the Democratic Party here to serve at that tenure. And but it's the lesson that comes from it that matters to me, that you cannot beat a child and say the child should not cry, and you cannot say people who fight for their belief have acted in contravention of any political.
Even when that is an anti what the party
I don't know what
for.
you mean. That's the point I'm making, because it's knowledge. You see, you don't. All right. You are saying Socrates came up with the notion of democracy.
Okay.
And in his time, they said, look, do you know that this idea that you have brought is tantamount to fighting the system? He said, yes. Okay. Well, what was the position of the Jews at that time? You should drink from the hemlock. The guy gave it to him. He drank it. But the idea that he showed, which is today's democracy, has germinated, resonated. That's the point I'm making. You can stop a man's. Listen, Tolstoy was held in prison. He said these 4 walls of the prison. Don't forget that he was a royalist in Russia. He said, look, these 4 walls of this prison cannot intimidate my spirit. Which means man is born to be free, to express himself reasonably. You know, so that I don't want to be agitated. I'm just saying that you see, what it shows is that if you are coming to equity, like they say, you must come with clean hands.
Exactly. Now, okay, go on.
Now, it shows that Akawa and his colleagues came to equity with clean hands, and they relied on the 15 sections of the Constitution and of the party constitution. And the judiciary, after hearing both sides and looking at the substance of the case, has affirmed that they came there on merit. You know, had a case, not a frivolous case. Now I'm just looking at the interpretation that comes from the side that never again shall we say to ourselves that when you have taken a wrong position as a party, that you're going to intimidate people on grounds of some complex, some superiority complex, giving yourself that entitlement to punish people when you have misbehaved. You know, there was something that was not consistent with the norms within the party constitution at the time that whatever Akawo and his colleagues did in support of their views and their position. And they were entitled to it.
I once had a telephone conversation with somebody who is an aide to the governor of one of the states close to us. I'm not going to mention the state.
No, you don't need to.
And this issue came up, and I said, your party, the National, does not have any evidence that the executive in River State, PDP, did play any anti-party activity. The governor of River State, the then governor, former governor, did say he was not going to support Atiku Abubakar. The party executive did not say they were going to go along, did not publicly say they were going to go along with him. Now, this is what he said. The answer I got was, when the governor, the ex-governor of River State, made that statement, was there any refutal from the state PDP executive? And I didn't have what to reply. I want to see if you have any reply to that.
Oh, well, I'm thinking that he was trying to be smart by half. There was a position of the Rivers PDP. Whether the Akawo leadership said something in public or not is immaterial. Something injurious to the interests of Rivers State took place in the PDP. PDP can't run away from it. And these people told you point blank, we will not leave the party because we love the party.
Okay.
We will stay in this party, we will fight this injustice. That's that position. That position hasn't changed.
And that anti-party? Because anti is
look see
in opposition to what
I have told you here repeatedly when I have opportunity that we have seen blue states in the United States turn to red states.
Yes.
And we have seen red states turn to blue states. They never squabbled over anti-party. If the party does what is right, its support base reacts and provides the munition for victory. When the party makes a wrong choice, a wrong decision, the people are free to say, okay, we can welcome this new thought, it doesn't make them any less part of the party. Ideas, those are things around this world. But you can't beat me. That's the point I'm trying to make. Now, this victory that you're looking at, doesn't it also tell you something? That it is in conformity with the resolve of members of Rivers PDP, including their leader, not to leave PDP. Because we could have abandoned the case. For those who say probably Wiki is head of APC, they could have abandoned the case since they were already primed in giving direction.
The party.
But what you are seeing here reinforces that belief, that testimonial on the part of ex-governor Wike, that no matter what happens, he is PDP. And the position of the courts in affirming the right of stay of Akawo et al. Has given vent to this strong belief that these people who are subject of undue speculation are going nowhere. The other day, the vice chairman of the party, Aaron, said it in clear terms. They were going nowhere. They are PDP.
Okay.
You understand? So I also hope that the outcome of this decision by the courts will put an end to this speculation.
The action will put an end to the speculation. Now, quickly before I open up the phone lines, one of the reference that people usually or quickly makes is the fact that if you cry that there was no equity at the national level, what about the states? There were people who picked up form for the governorship election, and from rumors not confirmed, they were forced down. Is that internal democracy? Do they not have the right to say, I'm seeking redress?
Look. My people say that a son who wants to go to battle, wants to fight, who comes to his father to say, I want to fight, is not ready for a fight.
Okay.
Because your father won't tell you to go and fight. He won't his role as a father to go and tell you to go and fight. Then when you fight and you come back home victorious, so welcome my son. You know, so I think people should note that in politics there are conversations, and of course the tendency to compete is a right of the individual. Nobody can take that away. But there are usually conversations too. You know, maybe what side of Rivers should have produced a governor and why. And if you're coming from a given senatorial district that's had it again and again and again, can there be justification for it? Is that also democracy? At least in the, given our point that we're evolving.
Okay.
And that you, as you're saying again, I just saying that if this jaw does not chew, the other jaw, part of the jaw is angry. You know.
So if we go by senatorial districts, there were Singh was not the only person who contested from that senatorial district.
Listen, frankly, when you're looking at Rivers, first, I know there is so much being done to end the notion of all planned riverine dichotomy. But like it or not, it exists. Okay? In 24 years of this phase of our democratic life, the riverine never produced a governor. History.
Okay.
Ojiri did 8 years. Dr. Peter, with due respect, 8 years. He was from Amelga. Okay. Rotimi Amechi, with also due respect to him, 8 years. Rivers East. Nyesom Wike, also due respect to him, 8 years. So 24 years of power in the upland give thought to the thinking that at least for whatever power should go to the riverine. So when you are looking at that district,
okay,
I'm talking about there are other people from that district. It be whether that person was riverine, as we say here, or whether the person was upland, as we also say here. Do you understand?
I do.
And there were conversations. These men who, would you also due respect to them, who had conversations with leaders of the party and who were given facts on the table, who were appealed to by the leadership to understand that we can do it this way. Attending those meetings, what is not clear is whether they said no.
Okay.
And they discussed it. Because you can agree and then come out and say no.
There was a conversation.
There were conversations.
But not even one.
There were conversations, and they know it.
So say this is the way the party is headed.
Yes.
Are you agreeing or disagreeing? I mean, face-to-face talk.
You know, face-to-face talk. Because you see, if you insisted that you wanted to run, it was your responsibility to those delegates. And if you think that somebody had control of those delegates and you couldn't challenge him or the candidate who was rooting for, then it was your understanding that those delegates will not vote for you. Do you understand what I mean?
I do.
Yeah, so let's you see, that's what I mean when I say that we should be more. Yeah, to desire the right thing for yourself is not a bad idea. But sometimes when it doesn't go your way, also agree that there is a course of nature in what appears.
All right. Always make sure that every angle is covered, and it's not just self. It should be selfless in whatever we do. That's what Honorable is saying. Time to open up the phone lines. Your phone is ringing already. 0907-084-9073, 0907-084-9073, and 0702-5002-007. Speak on. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello.
Good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning.
Good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Christian from Port Harcourt.
All right, Christian, go on.
All these things we discussed because they have already seen us as a developing country, and for me, what that means that we are underdeveloped or developing materially and spiritually. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this against the backdrop of the way we play politics in this part of the world. I want to believe that politics should be by ideology, and it's called to service. It shouldn't be a profession, for heaven's sake.
All right.
But the way we are taking it this way, people will go to court, ending court case here and there. You must be. Do you force yourself to serve people? You don't do that. If something happens and there's an extent you can go, you can say, okay, let me just leave it. Because I wanted to serve. They say they don't want me to serve. Let me move on with my life. But in this case, like my friend is talking in that place, I know that he was once in APC, PDP, they go like this and they come. Like he has said, if he does not favor, why will a man in our conscience and we say there is internal democracy in Rivers State PDP? I'm not a politician. But like I would say, I don't know why we go into politics in this part of the world. But I think if it is because of ideology, we will be going to this extent and be talking about one person controlling a party. If he does not favor you, you begin to see it differently. If he favors you, then you see that everything that is happening is good. As far as I'm concerned, if we play politics according to how it is played with civilized crime, we won't be having these issues.
All right, thank you very much.
Let's learn how to play politics the right way.
All right. Thank you, Christian, for your thoughts this morning. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, Captain.
Captain, go on. Good morning.
Yes, I think PDP Rivers State going to court. To me, it's very marginal because the same people, the first people went to court, asking court to defend him from the National Women Committee suspending. Man came out to say suspend me and see what will happen. Tomorrow, one might not be surprised to see Akawo and the rest representing the National Women Committee suspend us and see what will happen. So, politicians should play politics with the government. But the way they are going about it, they have more, the people that want to play this politics with decency and never learn anything from them that have been in front of us, like me. The kind of things, the kind of politics I see in university here, even without politics, I can never admire being a politician, but I want to be a party man. That is why I've been consistent in my view.
So if you're a party man, you're not a politician.
I'm not a politician.
Please educate me what being a party man and not being a politician is, please. I would need that education.
Politicians have wait now. Politician is who earns living, but because of being a politician, I don't earn living from being a politician.
That's a definition.
I have something I am doing, but I'm a politician. I'm a party man, following the trends and the whatever in politics. But the way these guys are going about it, somebody's in PDP talking for APC and APC talking for PDP. No fairness. No, I wonder. Continue, I beg. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. We want to.
You see, most of us are not naive, and when comments are made here and there, sometimes a person who thinks he's making those comments thinks he's being clever. Look, I joined the PDP. Something went wrong when Rotimi Amechi had face-offs with then president, and that's the movement. That's the movement that took some of us to the APC.
Okay,
and then we returned to the PDP. Where the original journey began. You know, so when people make this as assertion that they move from here, you move from there. I mean, do you understand? It really doesn't situate properly. Now, we just had one definition of a politician, yeah, and the difference between a party man and a politician.
And someone from the party.
It doesn't add up.
0907 084 9073 0907 084 9073 and then 0702 5002007. I've been accused of not allowing callers enough time and enough, when we do give out numbers, you call. When we end the call, taking calls, you see callers calling in at that time, and radio is timed. We have time for everything. Hello, good morning. What's your name? Where you calling? Hello, good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hello. All right. What's going on with the lines? Hello. Good morning. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling from? What's your name?
I'm calling from Chicago.
What is your name? Gina.
Yes, sir.
Gina, go on.
Some of these politicians, including the very man in that studio, they are workaholics. They are confused.
Okay, so what we do not allow is insults. Some of the politicians are workaholic. The one in the studio, they are confused. You've raised an insult, and that's what we do not. We always, when we open up the phone lines, the first thing we say is, please observe some sense of responsibility. All right. And you could be in a position of power. If someone younger or someone who does that to you, would you take it? So you put self first before you make, and it's not good for broadcasts. It's not to be broadcast. It's NTBB. Hello, good morning.
Hello, Chief. Good morning.
Good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I remain anonymous for security reasons. Good morning. Good morning.
You have the right to be. Go on.
Yeah, Honorable, good morning.
Morning.
I want to lend my voice on the certificate saga, the president and the judicial battle between him and Atiku. I think Atiku has the right to unearth the secrecy behind what the certificate of the president, because if I allege that I went to school I have to prove that really I went to school. And they are not only asking for the university certificate. We should get this clear. He's asking for also the certificate that enable him to get that particular admission. So we are not only talking about whether he graduated from the school or not.
No, okay, maybe you listen. The APC are saying, what is the use of getting all of that? It will not help you in the Supreme Court because you have front-loaded and your evidence, and a court of appeal had given judgment. So they will not admit any other evidence other than what you are appealing for. I don't know if you understand.
Okay, so Chief, are you saying, and this is a question that I want to ask the Honorable,
okay, go on.
That at the point that it is revealed that the President, as he alleged that he has a certificate from social school, and that at any point that he discovered that he did not have such certificate, can't he be sued outside the electoral litigation?
Of course he can.
And also get maybe if justice is served, he will be asked to vacate the office because he had lied on it.
Okay, so Anonymous, let me answer you quickly. He can be sued based on the certificate he has tendered. You know, we've said it repeatedly, even a school certificate can be a precedent in Nigeria. So if you have tendered a university certificate just in course of running an election, and if it was found out to be untrue, he can be sued. It's justiciable.
Then if he's sued, can't that warrant his stepping aside from the position, whether it's through electoral litigation or not? That is the question I'm asking.
Yeah, of course, that's
totally. When he has lied on oath. So for APC to make that argument, for APC to bring on the argument that is an effort in futility by Atiku, I don't think it is in any water. APC should have every reason to be worried.
All right,
I think this whole issue come under two possible frameworks. One, that you are talking about qualification of the candidate, and qualification includes everything that makes it possible for him to run an election. And then the other one is forgery. You know, and if you forge and you appear before a properly considered court to lie, it becomes perjury. You know, all kinds of things. But frankly, when I spoke here, I said those who felt very compelled to go to court on these issues have a right. It's their constitutional right. Nobody's going to take that away from them. Sometimes maybe it's up to you to justify before the panel of judges that your position, your quest was right and it was not a waste of the court's time. The other thing to say is that, well, I agree with you. You have a strong ground. It could help your case. You know, but I think that what you have done, Mr. Moderator, is also to educate him that equity cannot give you what you did not plea, a plea that you did not make. So at least that's what the lawyers say. So even if they get the Tinubu certificate thing succeeds, it is not part what you are saying. It's not part of what the PDP pleaded, which is before the justices at this time. So that does not mean that they cannot go to court. If there is this thing, what is clear is that the same institution has said, look, we know that this man, when he was a young man, came to this school. We know he graduated from here. And they tell you under US law, they cannot give you access to the certificate. Now US court has said, if so maybe the certificate will be given, you know, because everything is procedural, you know, so that we don't behave like, oh, everything is fixed. Because the mentality we have coming out of most of us in Nigeria is that everything is fixed. So if you don't get what you want, no, don't matter, they fix the judge. If it works for you, oh, thank God. You know, it shouldn't be like that. But let's agree that in every case there are two sides.
All right. All right, 0907. I'll take just two more calls and then I'll come back to the studio to finalize on the next issue. 0907 084 9073 and then 0702 500 2007. Please, when you do call in, stay away from the radio set so we can hear you properly and not have a hold back. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling from? No, not Flash. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. What is wrong with the 0708 0907 084 9073. I think I'm going to. I think the phone line's not working properly at this moment because I'm trying to answer the call. I will not hear anything. Quickly, let me without wasting any more of your time, let's jump straight to it. The last topic for this morning. There are indications that pressures are mounting on the pump price of petrol as the landing cost has risen by 19.3% to 596.93% per liter. I mean, naira per liter as of yesterday. From about 500, it was 500 naira per liter, and now 596 naira and some kobo for a liter in July. And then when the pump price was adjusted, it affected retail outlets all across the nation in Nigeria. All across the nation. Now, petroleum marketers are attributed the development to the continued rise in crude oil prices in the international market, as well as exchange rate volatility in Nigeria's foreign exchange market, which was 970 to a dollar yesterday. And then, quickly put, the marketers are buying higher now because of crude oil. It was sold yesterday. It was sold for $97.17 per liter yesterday. So if you marry that with landing costs and all of that, they go, they sell, and then refine and bring back to the country. I remember in August, the president did promise that the phone lines are up. When you do not want the food, they'll start popping up. The federal government had in the past said, we are not going to exceed, we are not going to allow the increment in petrol pump price. But the marketers seem to be hand tied, because I'm a marketer and I'm in it to make profits. Isn't this going to be a very dicey situation for the federal government? Remember, the federal government is not the one importing this fuel. Federal government regulates, all right, should regulate the way market forces affect the price in Nigeria, and the end user shouldn't be punished for some of these this and that in the industry.
Look, this is the point. Market forces, simply put, the forces of demand and supply. If the demand for the produce reduces, then it's supposed to affect price in some way. The same manner, if there is an upsurge in demand, and if you have excessive supply, it's also supposed to have an impact on the market. And this is why you have the cartels like OPEC and all trying to. You have those they call speculators in the oil business, hedgers in the oil business. The ones who speculators are the ones who bet on the prices and the movement of prices, and the hedgers are the ones who reduce the risk in accordance with this. But honestly speaking, we're finding ourselves in a kind of situation where the federal government were to just do market. The people will be shouting, whoa, they're killing them. Now this intervention is on the part of the people. Say, please, all marketers, take it easy. For now, we've had one, we'll have two. We don't want a third for now. in terms of price hike. And then again now, we're back on the block. And that's the good thing about Nigerians. They like to be, they're very expressive people. And right now, you don't know whether these same arguments that are coming back and forth now is pro people or anti people. You understand? But I am thinking that clearly there has to be price fixation, determined, of course, by forces of the market.
Okay.
And you know that oil business is not done on the table like that, because sometimes they give us these views too. That's what you call future contracts. You know, they say like airlines buying aviation fuel at current rates because there is a projection that maybe in future the price will go up. So most of these deals in the oil business are tied up. They are long-term deals. They just don't fluctuate just like that, you know. But we're on radio, and I believe that there are people also are knowledgeable about these things.
Okay.
The point I'm just trying to make here is that they make it look as if everything is happening in the short term. No. Like I said, speculators, hedgers, suppliers, everyone is part of the price building mechanism. And some of these things, yes, big moves. Remember, there was a time the world almost played the oil producers out when oil prices dropped to near zero. And of course, ought to affect the price of gasoline. And then the oil prices are going up, meaning that regardless of what has been done to introduce green energy, as I call it, still it will be difficult to try with hydrocarbons, you know. But in between, we are marching in the direction of December, when God willing, the refinery in Port Harcourt will come on stream.
Before then, do you think that the present government can keep it down?
I read on X, Twitter, my friend Hosseini, subsidy, you know, which suggests that maybe the government is intervening on the trying to cushion the impact on the side of suppliers in order to keep price steady.
Which is subsidy.
Well, you understand now, but you see, Cosby, acting on the side of what the system tried to do was to do away with excessive subsidy. In France, for example, there is subsidy on agriculture. In some European countries, that happens to support production. You understand? When the system decides to buy the produce of farmers so that it doesn't go to waste. There are many ways by which subsidy works. You know. So, but I don't know. Sometimes I just wonder whether we like the arguments just for the heck of it, or we really do have a strong, commitment to us as Nigerians. Now, if the federal government is trying what it can for now to stabilize these prices and make sure that oil marketers do not take a pound of flesh from the ordinary Nigerian, and then people are gleefully saying subsidy has returned, then something is wrong. That's my own take.
All right, and on that subsidy take, I have just I think I'm persuaded to open up the phone lines again, since the phones did not give people enough time to ventilate, enough time to rolling their thoughts this morning. I'm going to do that for 5 minutes and allow people to have a say. Hello, good morning. 0907-084-9073. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Chris, go on quickly.
Good morning. When you see this subsidy of a thing, subsidy removal, federal government should come with a nice primary English language that both mama in the village can understand. Let
Yeah.
them just say we are increasing fuel. How can you remove subsidy and the fuel are going high? And last
Okay,
time,
that's what it means, Chris.
now use it so that my
Listen. Let me part. That's part of why we're here. The education to educate people who call in and ask questions like this. Now, listen.
Yeah.
The federal government does not import fuel. They have independent marketers who does that. I mean, all right, they import fuel. Now, subsidy is if Chris import fuel for 700 naira. All right, you are to sell for 800 naira so that you make gain of 100 naira. Isn't that? You are an Igbo man. You are a businessman. So that you put money in your pocket. Now, what federal government will do is we come in. 700 will be too much for a Cosby to go and buy per liter. All right.
This is ATN Global News. First, the headline. Police in Rivers State arrest suspected NIN racketeers. Ohaneze decries beheading of LP chieftain Maduka in Abia. Khan weeps over resurgence of kidnapping in Taraba State. FG partners summit group to improve water resources. UN calls for collective support effort towards international peace. Singer Burna Boy suspends South Africa show. Desiro says Osimhen can win Ballon d'Or award. And now the rest of our story. Security operatives of the Rivers State Police Command have arrested 3 persons suspected to be engaged in national identity number racketeering in Port Harcourt. The suspects were nabbed by a team of policemen at the entrance of the National Identity Management Commission along Aba Road in the state capital. The operatives, numbering about 4, arrived in the area in a blue-colored private saloon car, had alighted from their vehicle and swooped on the roadside acclaimed agents. The raid followed complaints about the activities of the suspects who posed as agents of the federal agency, unknown to the public that they had ulterior motives, while some of the roadside acclaimed agents who were seen at the entrance of the commission claimed that they sell NIN registration forms due to lack of employment. It was gathered that those arrested were pleading with the police to allow them to operate. Meanwhile, a source at the Port Harcourt NIMC office, who spoke on condition of anonymity, said the men usually come there on a daily basis posing as agents, saying sometimes they swindle unsuspecting members of the public visiting the facility. Spokesperson of the State Police Command, Grace Irindikoko, is yet to make comments on the matter. Embattled Deputy Governor of Edo State, Philip Shaibu, has apologized to his principal governor, Godwin Obaseki, for forgiveness over their political differences. Shaibu, who disclosed this in his Benin City residence, asked Governor Obaseki to forgive and forget. The feud between Governor Godwin Obaseki and his deputy, Philip Shaibu, has continued as the office he vacated has been allocated as a secretariat of the yearly Alahodaro Summit, while a reliable source in the deputy governor's office said Obaseki, in a leaked memo, asked the secretary to the state government, Osarodion Oge, to allocate the office building to the deputy governor to the trustees of the Alahodaro Summit as their secretariat. It was gathered that the chairman, through the secretary, had written to the governor for a permanent secretariat building to aid planning and logistics for the 2023 Alahodaro Summit. The leaked memo is dated the 18th of September 2023, and the allocation, in the words of Governor Obaseki, is to take immediate effect. Leader of INRI Evangelical Spiritual Church, Primate Elijah Ayodele, has advised Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki against fighting his deputy, Philip Shaibu, to avoid losing the state to opposition parties. He revealed that Obaseki's fight with his deputy would ruin the chances of the People's Democratic Party in the coming election. A statement signed by his media aide, Osho Oluwatosin, the prophet advised the governor to be more diplomatic in addressing the issues between him and his deputy instead of washing their dirty linen in public. He urged both of them to find ways to settle their differences. Election Petition Tribunal, sitting in Omahia, Abia State, has upheld the victory of Lewis Chinemerem Obianyi as the member representing Okwa East State constituency in the Abia State House of Assembly. The tribunal, in its ruling, dismissed the petition brought before it by the candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Keke Adiele, challenging Obianyi's election. In an unanimous judgment delivered by Honorable Justice Aderi Bigwe, led 3-man panel, the tribunal held that the petitioner, Ekeke, failed to prove that the election was marred by substantial non-compliance with electoral laws. The tribunal also ruled that the first petitioner, Mr. Okeke Adiele, was not the person, Mr. Adiele Keke, who contested the election and does not have the local standing to contest the election results, adding that the petitioner failed to establish the burden of proof of non-compliance and therefore dismissed the petition for lacking in merit. Reacting to the judgment, the lead counsel of Obianyi, Chiedozie Ogunji, hailed the tribunal for its decision, saying that justice has prevailed on the matter. In his own reaction, Obianyi expressed joy that his mandate achieved through the ballot was preserved. Secretary General of the Chidi Ibe-led faction of Ohaneze Ndibo worldwide, Mazi Okechukwu Isiguazoro, has condemned the murder and beheading of a chieftain of the Labour Party from Umuneochi local government area of the state, Mr. Zachary Maduka, by unknown assassins. Isiguzoro, an ex-Ohaneze youth leader, said this in a statement on Wednesday in Aba. He urged southeastern governors and security agencies to improve on intelligence gathering and surveillance to fight crime in the region. while urging critical stakeholders, every citizen with vast experience and expertise towards addressing insecurities and other many myriads of challenges impeding our efforts to attain economic greatness and enhance critical infrastructural development in every part of Nigeria's society for good of the people. Isiguzoro said, there should be an urgent need to fashion out a workable security system to shroud on effectiveness and efficiency. Soldiers have allegedly attacked villages in Oriendu in Umolakula, Umu Amulaku, Umeze in Ehime Mbano local government area in Imo State, which has currently forced residents to live in fear. The community invasion by the armed men came a day after some gunmen killed and set some soldiers, policemen, and men of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps ablaze in 2 patrol vehicles in the community. A video online showed the destruction of property in the community, even as eyewitnesses alleged that the act was perpetrated by the armed officials, while residents of the area were currently living in fear of their lives and decried the burning of houses. The resident who spoke in the video lamented that they were being punished for what they knew nothing about, while several shops, buildings, properties, food shops, and bars were allegedly razed by the rampaging soldiers seeking justice for their colleagues. The roads of the quiet village looked deserted after the soldiers allegedly wreaked a devastating havoc on the community, with only a handful of countable residents whose properties were destroyed seen. Meanwhile, the Nigerian army has denied involvement in any attack or destruction of shops, including drinking joints and restaurants in Ehime Mbano, Imo State, following the gruesome murder of some security personnel in Omo Alomako community on Tuesday. The Assistant Director, Army Public Relations Officer, 34 Artillery Brigade, Obinze, Joseph Akubo, said he was unaware of any destruction of the men of the force in the area. Meanwhile, the governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma, and the governorship candidate of the Labour Party for the November 11 governorship election in the state at Aitan, Achono, have condemned the Tuesday killing of security operatives in the state. In separate statements, Uzodinma and Achono described the killing as reprehensible. Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma has vowed that the unknown gunmen who murdered security operatives in the Ehime Mbano local government area of the state on Tuesday would be tracked and brought to book. This is coming after unidentified gunmen on Tuesday attacked and killed no fewer than 8 security operatives, including police, military, and officers of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC. Reacting after visiting the scene, the state governor, in a post on his official X account, expressed sadness over the unfortunate incident, assuring citizens that justice would be served and called on members of the community to remain calm, asking them not to be dismayed by the development. Governor Uzodinma also said the barbaric act is unacceptable and has directed a collaborative effort among the security units for justice and appealed for cooperation from the community to campaign against criminality and its associated vices in the state, while commiserating with the security agencies whose men were involved in the ugly incidents. Reacting to the development on ATN blowout, public affairs analyst Dumizo Samson called on the various security agencies to be proactive rather than reactive in security issues, because Nigerians depend on them, and if they fail to protect themselves, what hope does the common man have?
The security agencies are funded and they have a responsibility to protect lives and properties. And where the security agencies themselves cannot even protect their own lives, it tells you that there's a security deficit. Imo State is a flashpoint, all know, and I do not feel comfortable that at this point in time, we're still talking about unknown gunmen. It is unfortunate, and then it speaks to the fact that we do not have our security agencies doing their utmost. Is it poor intelligence? How can we, in a small state like Imo State, we cannot tell who committed what? A group of well-trained professionals, security professionals, would be murdered, killed, burnt, and then we say that these people are unknown gunmen. I mean, listen, we should not be saying this. Are we saying that those who killed these security agents are more trained, are better experts than our security agents? Is that what we're saying? If we're saying that, it means that there's no need having the security agencies. Because if you cannot protect lives and properties, and at this point in time, the security themselves are a victim of the system, it tells you that nobody is safe. So what should I be saying as a person? Because I don't even have a gun to protect myself. And those who are armed cannot protect themselves. It tells you that we have a serious problem in
agencies for perceived ineptitude on their part, for failing to bring to book any of the perpetrators of such an act within 24 hours since the occurrence of the inhuman killings.
This country. And at this point, I think that we need to stop excusing, our security agencies. As much as they are doing their best, we appreciate their commitment and sacrifice. We should not, at this point, tolerate such reports. What do you mean by unknown gunmen? What do you mean by unknown gunmen in Imo State? We're talking about just one state out of 36 states, and we cannot, it's over 24 hours, we cannot identify the persons who perpetrated this kind of crime. How armed were they? How sophisticated were they to ambush the Nigerian army? In fact, a joint security team. How armed were they to ambush this team? If we are, at this point in time, saying that these people are unknown gunmen, and this has been a repeated trend, it means that we're saying that there are a group of militias in this country or in Imo State that are more trained, more sophisticated, more funded, and more expertly than the Nigerian army that is in Imo State. And to say that is to say that we are not safe at any point in time. And I'm wondering what ordinary citizens within the neighborhood of where this thing happened will be feeling. I mean, I'm beginning to think, do they even have a police station around there? Because if security agents well armed would be ambushed and conquered, it means that the population within that neighborhood itself.
Inspector General of Police, Kayode Ebetikon, has ordered a crackdown on Asalan, who murdered about 8 security operatives in Imo State on Tuesday. This is coming after the yet-to-be-identified gunmen on Tuesday attacked and murdered some security operatives, including police, military, and officers of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps in the Hime Mbano local government area of Imo State. According to a viral video, the security operatives were killed and burnt alongside a patrol vehicle, while the police hierarchy, in a statement by the Force Public Relations Officer, ACP Olumuyiwa Adejobi, condemned the attack, assuring that the culprits would be fished out and prosecuted. The statement explained that the victims were responding to a fake distress call from the area when the assailants ambushed them, while assuring the public that the Nigeria Police Force is fully committed to collaborating closely with other relevant authorities to conduct a thorough and comprehensive investigation into this heinous act, while relentlessly pursuing the cause of justice. Reacting to the development on ATM blowout, public affairs analyst Dumizo Samson advised the security agencies to always carry out reconnaissance even on impromptu missions and upgrade their intelligence gathering to aid its operation. Here are the highlights.
It should be on record that when security agents are sent to a particular environment, they are supposed to do a tour around the environment, know how the environment is, know how the environment is in and out, such that in a boardroom, all right, they would be able to describe that particular terrain. Without you being there, you can have a good understanding of what it is. Now, to now say that the security agents were ambushed, the first question is, who made the call? Through what medium were they called? Is it that the line that was used cannot be traced? Because we should be able to, I mean, that's why I talk about poor intelligence. If a call comes to you, you should know where the call is coming from. The security agency should be able to trace where the call is coming from. Whose number was used? We've talked about NIM in this country. You're registering your NIM, your phone number, and all of that. Whose name is attached to the number that made the call? From your GPS, where was this call made from? We should be able to trace the voice. Was it MTN that was used? Was it Glo that was used? We should be able to get to MTN to be able to trace whom this person is. But, I mean, as
when
now,
you say go,
they are still unknown gunmen.
Dumito Sampson also called for an improved synergy between security operatives with security experts in the country. Here is the highlight.
And I can tell you for free that if we do not manage the system, we're going to start having our security experts exported to different countries. And the consequence is that we're going to have a reduced manpower. Now, when you have a reduced manpower, think about somebody who is supposed to work 35 years for government, and he has worked for about 5 years. And the investment government has made, or 10 years, made in that person's life. You've gone for trainings, government has trained you, and then we lose you. And this is a minus on daily basis. Over time, you're going to have a reduced number of security agencies. And even as at now, we're saying we do not even have sufficient police officers. We don't have sufficient police officers. And we keep losing security agents on daily basis. It means that over time, when we lose the numbers, crime will increase. Because now we're struggling to manage crime. And I think that if we do not nip this in the bud, we're going to have crime increase over time. And when people do things and get away with it like this, you're sending a wrong signal to society. That people can come together and do what they need to do, and nothing will happen. So I think that at this point in time, the Nigerian police have to do everything possible to even become digital. And must have maybe a 5 or 10 year plan, such that the entire system can have cameras everywhere. You can have an advanced digital information sharing system. Because when you get to the police stations, I've been to several police stations in this country, especially here in River State. When you get to a police station, you hardly find, I'm telling you, in fact, you hardly find a CCTV camera in police stations. Go and check. Go and check the police stations. I mean, globally, everybody knows that there is no security system without a CCTV camera. It is a common thing in every developed country. It's a common thing. In fact, people have it in their homes. People have it in their homes. People have 2 houses. Some have in Port Harcourt, some have in Abuja. They stay in Abuja to monitor their houses in Port Harcourt. Yeah. So, but the police station, the police that are supposed to be, using these things and having it at their beck and call, go to police station. You will not find CCTV camera. All right. So even when something happens within the Nigerian police station, you cannot have, without eyewitness reports, you cannot have any digital forensic footprints. All right, thank you very much. So we are really behind.
Residents of Oriendu in Omo Alomako Umweze in Ehime Mbano local government area in Imo State are currently living in fear for their lives following the alleged invasion of the community and destruction of property by security personnel suspected to be soldiers. The community invasion by the armed men came a day after some gunmen killed and set some soldiers, policemen, and men of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps ablaze in 2 patrol vehicles in the community on Tuesday. A video cited by one of our correspondents showed the destruction of property in the community, even as the narrator alleged that the act was perpetrated by the armed officials. It was gathered that residents of the area were currently living in fear of their lives and decried the burning of houses. The residents who spoke in the video lamented that they were being punished for what they knew nothing about. According to a video, several shops, buildings, properties, food shops, and bars were allegedly razed by the rampaging soldiers seeking justice for their colleagues. The roads of the quiet village looked deserted after the soldiers allegedly wreaked a devastating havoc on the community, with only a handful of countable residents whose properties were destroyed. Reacting to the Development and Society Watch, public diplomat Apostle George Kinsley Papami condemned the actions of unknown men against security operatives on patrol, which has thrown the innocent residents into uncertainty as the military have engaged on a crackdown to find the perpetrators. Here are the highlights.
In the southeast, that people should sit at home every Monday. People were killed in their houses. People were molested. People were harassed before the issue went to the police, Inspector General of Police, before it went to the Army Command, before they released these men to come in there to protect lives and property. And for Christ's sake, if people are there to protect the citizens, I think nobody has the right, nobody has the audacity, nobody has the effrontery to confront a military man or a combined armed force, that is on patrol. Not that they went to a place and maybe they were harassing people, maybe they were attacking people before that thing happened to them. They were on patrol, which means that at that time, no action or no incidents was happening. And if they were attacked by an ambush, I think that is the worst thing a military man or a policeman or a defense officer will tolerate. Because at that stage, it means that people have taken laws into their hands. That's just the simple truth of it. People have taken laws into their hands. And moreover, they didn't just kill them, they set them ablaze. Meaning that everything about them is condemned. Yeah. Everything about them is condemned. And condemning such people who are on official duty, I think is very, very heinous. And that was why the Inspector General of Police, yesterday on the news, he gave an order, all right, that the military, the joint military personnel should go after the killers of those security operatives. And of course, you know, they won't just sit. They have come out to hunt for those soldiers, for those killers.
Judge Kingsley Papami also urged residents to give the military vital information to aid their investigation for their own safety, because the military does not recognize the law and would continue to its crude and brute force of finding criminals.
And in going from place to place, of course, an angry man the soldiers are already angry over the incident. And people should always be there to give them information. Because if they come to your village and you're able to give them, the people, they came here but they just left. This is their direction. This is where they are going. This is where they will sort them. I don't think they will do such things. Transfer their anger, right, on the innocent. Not allowed, because this is purely a humanitarian issue. It has become a humanitarian issue in the sense that whomever that has committed the offense is whom the law holds. The law does not hold an innocent man. That's what the military should know. But unfortunately, what we are trying to analyze here is that they should know that they are dealing with the military. The military does not know the ambit of the law. I hope you understand what I'm saying. The military does not know the ambit of the law. What they rely on from the concept of their training is decrease. That's what they rely on. And therefore, if the civilian gets or have the military in the environment, they should know that their lawlessness has exceeded the pronouncements of the law. And they have exercised their powers beyond the rule of law. I hope you understand me. That is why the military has come in. And as the military has come in, they should know that anything that will violate the orders and the decrees of the law of the military, it will not go well with them. They should know it from now, because that is what the military is trying to exercise. All right? That in this case, the law does not hold water anymore. I hope you understand me. So they should know it, because ignorance of the law is not an excuse. It is ignorance of the fact that it's an excuse. So they should not say, we are not concerned, we are not involved. No. They should, when they see such people that are in their environment, coming to hide, to commit crime, to insinuate crime, to perpetrate crime, they should find all means possible to send information to the military and to the security agencies. That's what it means.
Okay. Kingsley Papami further called on the state governor, Hope Uzodinma, to set up a task force composed of locals in every community to gather intelligence, which would then be related to the military to aid in bringing to book these criminals and return peace and tranquility to the Imo State.
The governor is the chief security officer of the state. All right? We are pleading with him in as much as these citizens are crying out for help. That as a governor, all right, he should call the soldiers to order. He should speak with the Inspector General of Police. He should speak with the Army Defense Headquarters, telling them and assuring them that these people that have committed this offense will be fished out. And I want to tell them that, see, the issue about these crimes in around their states and their locations is that they have not been able to set up a task force. All right? Set up a task force that will fish at these people. They don't have, the task force does not have any duty. It is to get information from communities. You must have people in every community, provided there is a leader there, provided there is somebody that can be relied on in every communities of the state to be giving them information where these boys are operating. Because if you hide them and the military is aware that these boys are in your community and they come and exercise their powers, you don't have to blame anybody. What we are saying is that the Imo State Governor, Isotoma, should please set up a task force that will help fish out these criminals in the various communities. For the military, does that mean to go and apprehend them, and for the police to apprehend them. Otherwise, the community will suffer this.
Suspected gunmen have allegedly killed 2 police officers in Enugu State. The officers were killed when the hoodlums ambushed a mobile police patrol team, while the incident happened along the Udi-Ozala Road as the Operation Restore Peace Enugu team was on routine patrol. The victims were identified as Danjuma Joseph, an assistant superintendent of police, and Inspector Abu Alameje, and eyewitnesses said they were rushed to the University of Nigeria Teaching Hospital, Ituku Ozala, for treatment, but were confirmed dead by doctors on duty. Another officer, Inspector Udemeng, who sustained bullet wounds, was treated and discharged, and it is unclear whether the policemen were killed by the kidnappers who have been on rampage in different parts of the state or another set of hoodlums. A few days ago, the Ohaneze Ndibo Youth Council worldwide had described the high rate of kidnapping in the state incredible, while the Apex Igbo group called for an overhaul of the entire security architecture in the state. Police Public Relations Officer of Enugu State Police Command, DSP Daniel Ndukwe, is yet to make any statement on the matter. Governorship Election Tribunal sitting in Enugu State has dismissed the certificate forgery allegation against Governor Peter Mba of the People's Democratic Party. It ruled that the claims by the People's Redemption Party candidate, Elder Christopher Ago, lacked merit. Ago had alleged that Mba forged his National Youth Service Corps certificate. He also alleged irregularities in the election as well as overvoting. But Justice Kudirat Morayo, a Akano-led tribunal in a judgment held that the petitioner could not prove allegations of fraud against the respondent, while the tribunal held that there was no evidence before it to support PRP's claim that a forged certificate was submitted to INEC, adding that the issue was not contained in the petitioner's affidavit. In particular, it stated that to prove forgery, both the original and the supposedly forged certificate ought to have been exhibited, while on the issue of plea bargain by Mba, the tribunal averred that the exhibits presented by the petitioners didn't show any plea bargain by the respondents. The court said the evidence presented by Mba was to the effect that he was acquitted of the charges. The panel also averred that witnesses called by the petitioners couldn't specify the polling units where the elections didn't hold, nor the results of same, while it concluded that the governorship election of March 18 and the return of Governor Peter Mba is, as winner, complied with the provisions of Electoral Act 2022. Lagos State Police Command has arrested 3 unidentified suspects as a drunken hunter allegedly shot dead a 14-year-old girl. Resident James Joel said the unidentified girl was shot dead by the who was on a bike in the Ayinla Akera area of Orile Agege, Lagos. Divisional Police Officer of Elera Station, Amodu Jimo, when contacted, dismissed the report linking policemen to the incident. But confirming the incident, the DPO said policemen saw some people crowded on the streets and read to find out what was happening. And they were told somebody shot at a small girl and saw the cops on the ground. It was a 14-year-old girl. They asked for the person that shot her. They were told it was a hunter carrying a Dane gun. He got drunk from a woman selling alcoholic drink beside the place. The DPO said the cops was taken to a nearby hospital, adding that the police traced the woman who runs the shop where the man went to drink. An investigation is ongoing. Federal Fire Service Zone F says properties estimated at 1.5 billion naira were saved from the fire in the zone in August. The Assistant Controller General and Zonal Commander in charge of the zone, Mr. Chika Njoko, who disclosed this in Lagos, said that the zone had 22 fire calls within the period under review, with 13 successfully put out and 20 persons saved during the operations. He said that within the same month, properties estimated to 384.1 million naira were lost to the fire in the 3 states, adding that Lagos had the highest fire incidents with 14 cases, where 12 persons were saved, adding that 9 other persons were rescued from other disasters, while properties estimated at about 345 million naira were reportedly lost and 1.2 billion naira items were also saved. Njoka said Oyo had 8 fire cases with 8 lives saved from the incidents, 8 others rescued from other disasters, with 38.4 million naira estimated properties lost to fire, while more than 296 million naira others were saved, adding that in August 2022, the zone recorded 39 fire incidents, with Lagos recording 30 cases, Ogun 5, Oyo State recording 4. He said properties estimated at about 352.6 million naira were lost during that period, while others worth about 2.2 billion naira were saved. While the zonal commander said within that period, 11 persons were saved during the fire operations, with 8 others rescued from other disasters in Lagos State. An Ibadan-based lawyer, Mutalubi Adebayo San, has given Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke a 10-day ultimatum to pay arrears of allowances owed retired and 7 judges in the state, or face legal action. Adebayo, in a statement signed by himself, said that should Adeleke refuse to yield to the request by September 30, legal action to compel him to pay up would commence in a court of competent jurisdiction in October 3. The lawyer also noted that besides the arrears of outstanding allowances, he would also claim interest and aggravated damages in respect of the unpaid entitlements. The statement also said, take further notice that he will also claim interest and aggravated damages in respect of those unpaid allowances because the act of the government of Osun State is refusing to pay same over the years amounts to sheer callousness, recklessness, disregard for rule of law, incident, and unfair. However, the spokesperson to the governor, Olawale Rashid, is yet to react to the statement. Leadership of Opwama, Sekelewu, and Okribo communities of Ebwema Kingdom in Warri, not local government of area, Delta State, have kicked against the alleged annexation of the communities in Ondo State into Ondo State as Governor Rotimi Akeredolu creates 33 new LCDAs and 18 local government areas in Ondo State. The aggrieved community leaders from the Delta communities accused the Ondo State government of illegally annexing the communities into Ilaje East Local Development Area under Obo Ward 5 of Ilaje LGA in Ondo State. A petition issued by designated leaders of Opwama, Skelewu, and Okribo communities of the Ebwema Kingdom in Delta State and signed jointly by Honorable David Ugedi, Dr. Bright Abulu, Reverend Doya Clement, Chief December Awe, Chief Felix Adanse, and Sir Christmas Okaha, respectively in Warri. The protesting Delta communities declared that they would continue to resist any attempt to illegally merge them with Ondo State, no matter what it might cost them, insisting that they remain part and parcel of Delta State. The protesting communities urged the general public, federal, state, and local governments to intervene and emancipate them from the conceived and attempted slavery of the people for economic benefits derivable from their lands, adding that with concern that their attention was initially drawn to a map produced by the Ondo State Government Performance and Implementation Monitoring Unit, fencing Opwama and Iskelewu's communities into Ilaje and Eso, the local government areas of Ondo State. Transport Secretariat of the Federal Capital Territory Administration has assured residents of Abuja of adequate security when the Abuja Light Rail begins operations. The Secretary of the Secretariat, Mr. Ubukotom Inya, gave the assurance on Wednesday after inspecting the ongoing rehabilitation of the Metro Rail Line project in Abuja. The China Civil Engineering Construction Company Limited, handling the rehabilitation project, had, during a visit to Vice President Kashim Shettima, pledged to complete the Abuja Rail Mass Transit System by May 2024. Inya said the provision of security was in line with the vision of the Secretariat's security, affordability, and flexibility, adding that the security of the light rail operation ratio was paramount to secure the rail tracks and being put in place, and expressed optimism that the expected commercial operation of the Abuja Light Rail would commence earlier than expected. The Secretary said the vandalized parts of the tracks had been fixed while communication cables were being imported. Christian and Muslim clerics has cautioned 36 state governors against diverting the 2 billion naira given to each state by the federation government to cushion the effect of fuel subsidy removal on the Nigerian citizens. They gave the advice in Kaduna while charging governors to ensure that the funds are used accordingly for social and economic growth for interest of all Nigerians, masses.
My name is Imam Hussein Makadiola from Muslim Peace Network, MPN.
Reverend Dr. Joseph Hayab says the economic hardship citizens of the country are going through not just be solved by mere palliative, noting that diversity will add more challenges and stir citizens against one another and government.
It's a great nation.
And 100 trailers of rice, it will still be diverted. At the end of the day, many people in the community will not even get off to one mudu of rice. So what palliative are you talking about? You're just promoting another form of criminal, stealing or promoting hunger in another form. So I think government is supposed to think of what do we do to change the lives of our citizens? What do we do to improve the welfare of the community? Than all these things. But asking someone to buy grains and share to people, how many times have the grain really go to the people? The grains will still come. We knew what happened in the previous administration, and some people in Nigeria were benefiting. Where are they? And we still have those people begging all over the street. We still have people, see, of course, you receive every day from people who will tell you that they didn't eat yesterday. They don't even have 1 naira, so they just need 1,000 naira. 500 naira is all they are looking for. And you're talking about palliative. What is that? So can we find something that will better the citizens, better the community, better our people, and then we see how life will go? I really do not want you to give me rice. I just want you to give me an enable environment.
Also, Kaduna State Islamic cleric Imam Hussein Makadiola says fairness, equity, and justice should be done in sharing the palliative to the vulnerable Nigerians, urging government to punish any officials caught diverting what belongs to poor masses for personal gain to be dealt.
Instead of sharing food and sharing things, make sure that certain basic things that people need are there. Can you imagine that in the next 6 months, everybody who wants to go to work in Kaduna will not pay 1 dime. He will just go out of his house and there will be a vehicle to take him to work to and fro. He's not going to pay a kobo. The economic empowerment of that person who goes to work without paying money will be higher than the palliative that is.
To advise our various governors, they should fear God. They should not distribute what they are, this palliative, in a way that some community will say that they didn't bring anything to us. Some community will say, we thank God. The government is doing well when they are not doing well. They should fear God. They should fear God. They should not distribute this palliative in a biased way. They should do, federal governments have done their own parts, but it's left to the governor to do the justice. They should share this palliative in a justice manner. Everybody they should feel impact of this palliative. Whether if it is one mudu, let them feel it. They should fear God. All these things. But if there is, the government puts punishment in place, I'm telling you, it will not be like this. They should punish those who are doing this. They should arrest them and punish them. That's the only way we can move forward.
They appeal to governments at all levels to provide mobilities, functional health care services and others that will serve as long-term palliatives to Nigerians than mere bags of rice that will sustain them for a while.
Instead of sharing food and sharing things, make sure that certain basic things that people need are there. Can you imagine that in the next 6 months, everybody who wants to go to work in Kaduna will not pay one dime. He will just go out of his house and there will be a vehicle to take him to work to and fro. He's not going to pay a kobo. The economic empowerment of that person who goes to work without paying money will be higher than the palliative that is shared. Imagine that people who fell sick will no longer buy drugs in the next 8 months or 6 months. Whether if you are sick, when you just go to hospital, as far as you have a particular identification, you'll be given medication. The money we've been given to chemists, the money we've been given to some private hospitals, we will now turn it to our advantage. So if we had improved services like transportation, medication, education, and others, what palliative?
Recall that on August 17, the federal government allocated 5 billion naira to each state, including the FCT, as palliatives to cushion the effects of the subsidy removal for Nigerian citizenry. Kaduna High Court Judge Justice Dairos Kobo has convicted a 19-year-old teenager, Peterson Enoch, to 12 months imprisonment over offenses bordering on internet fraud. The convict, a resident of Millennium City, Kaduna, was dragged before the court by the State Zonal Command of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. In his judgment, Kobo found the defendant guilty of the charge preferred against him. The judge sentenced Enoch to 12 months in a correctional center with an option of a fine of 100,000 naira. He also ordered the forfeiture of the iPhone 12 and Infinix S5 phone recovered from the convict at the time of the arrest to the federal government and to restitute $1,000 to his victim, Kinsley Matthew. Earlier, the EFCC counsel, P.C. Onyeneho, said that Enoch was one of the suspects arrested at Malali in Kaduna on August 25, following actionable intelligence about the activities of persons suspected to be fraudsters, while the defendant had pleaded guilty to the charge. All Progressives Congress in Zamfara State has mourned the death of a veteran journalist in the state, Hamisu Danjba, who was murdered by gunmen recently. A statement issued in Gusau by the State Publicity Secretary, Yusuf Idris, the party described his murder as disheartening. This is coming after Danjba, the state correspondent of Voice of Nigeria, had been missing for three days before his corpse was found in a circleway behind his house on Wednesday. The state party chairman, Alhaji Tukur Dan Fulani, wishes to commiserate with the immediate families of the deceased, Nigeria Union of Journalists, and entire members of the NUJ Correspondents Chapel in the state over the Danjba's death. The scribe further described the deceased as a friend to everyone, saying he was dedicated and he spent the whole of his life in serving humanity through journalism profession, adding that his death is a great loss to the journalism profession, Zamfara and Nigeria as a whole, and prayed to Allah to forgive his sins and grant his family the fortitude to bear the loss. Idris said that the state's APC leadership has therefore urged security agencies to investigate and bring the perpetrators of the terrible act to book, while the remains of the deceased had since been buried in Gusau, the Zamfara capital, according to Islamic rites, and until this heinous murder, the late Danjba was the Zamfara correspondent of the House Service, Voice of Nigeria. Christian Association of Nigeria in Taraba State has expressed dismay over the resurgence of kidnappings and banditry in some parts of the state, most worrisome for the religious organization in the oppression of the poor by these bandits, which has brought untold hardship to their families. State Chairman of CAN, Dr. Isaiah Jirapie, in a statement urged the state government to take proactive measures to stop the menace. before it deteriorates, adding that Jalingo, the state capital, and other communities across the state have witnessed worrisome kidnapping activities which led to the loss of innocent lives while families are forced to pay huge amounts as ransom. Khan advised the state government to immediately set in motion proactive measures to address this rising evil before it will deteriorate, while urging traditional institutions, districts, and village heads within the state should check out the habitat of these bad elements and liars with relevant security agencies to fish them out for peace and stability of the society. Peaceful coexistence should be our collective responsibility. Each individual should prioritize his security and that of his neighborhood and should not condone bad elements. The people perpetrating these evil are not ghosts. They are humans and live amongst us. He further added that the governor just crossed 100 days in office and should not be distracted. Kano State Governor Abba Yusuf has vowed to appeal the judgment of the Governorship Election Tribunal, which nullified his election and declared the APC candidate Nasaru Yusuf Gawuna as the winner. Yusuf made a declaration during a broadcast to the people of the state. He said his legal team had been directed to appeal the judgment at the Court of Appeal in order to reclaim the mandate given to him by the people of the state. He therefore called on the good people of the state to remain calm and continue to be law-abiding as security agents have been directed to ensure the safety of lives and property of the citizens. The governor, who thanked the people of the state for their continued support and cooperation, urged them to go about with normal activities. This is coming after the Kano state government on Wednesday declared a 24-hour curfew in the state to avoid a breakdown of law and order following the sacking of Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf of the New Nigerian People's Party by the state's governorship election petitions tribunal. Security was beefed up across the Kano metropolis on Wednesday, shortly after the ruling of the three-man election tribunal led by Justice Oluyemi Akintan Osadebe declared the candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Nasar Gawuna, as the winner of the March 2023 governorship election held in the state. The State Commissioner of Police, Mohammed Gumel, who confirmed the curfew order in a statement, said the restriction took effect from 6 p.m. on Wednesday to 6 p.m. on Thursday today. Gumel vowed to ensure strict compliance with the order, warning that defaulters would be arrested and made to face the wrath of the law, adding that in view of the constitutional mandate of the Nigeria Police Force alongside the relevant internal security and law enforcement agencies to preserve law and order in the state, the Kano State Police Command has mapped out strategies in that direction and called on the good people of the state to give the necessary confidence and support. Plateau State Police Command says it has recovered a total of 77 stolen cars in the state. The spokesman for the State Police Command, Alabo Alfred, who disclosed this in a statement, said the cars were stolen from a header in Bauchi State by criminals and moved them to Wase local government area of Plateau State before they were recovered by the police. According to the intelligence report, the cows were rustled from a header while grazing and moved towards Odare Forest of Kampani Zurak village, Wase local government area. While on receipt of the information, the divisional police officers, Bashar Division, Atiku Yahaya, immediately led a team of policemen who, in conjunction with VGN personnel and hunters, intercepted the culprits. On sighting the policemen, the culprits fled into the nearby forests. However, 77 cows were recovered and released to the owner. The police have intensified efforts in order to arrest the culprits and ensure that they face the full weight of the law. Lamidi Apapa faction of the Labour Party has advised the 2023 presidential candidate of the party, Peter Obi, to seek another political platform to pursue its presidential ambition ahead of the 2027 election. The Apapa faction, whose authenticity was recently affirmed by the Do Division of the Court of Appeal, said it had started shopping for another presidential candidate ahead of 2027. The spokesman for the faction, Abayomi Arabambi, who spoke against the backdrop of the appeal filed by Obi at the Supreme Court on Tuesday to challenge the verdict of the Presidential Election Petitions Court, which reaffirmed President Bola Tinubu as the winner of the 2023 presidential election. The Apapa-led faction of the Labour Party had distanced itself from the from the decision of Obi and the Julius Abure faction to challenge Tinubu's victory in court, while on August 14, the Edo Division of the Court of Appeal declared Apapa as the authentic national chairman of the Labour Party. Arabambi also said Obi should not waste his time pursuing an appeal against Tinubu's victory at the Supreme Court, adding that Obi clearly lost the election due to his alleged mismanagement of human resources. But the spokesman for Obi Dati Presidential Campaign Council, Yanusa Tanko, dismissed Arabambi's threats, said the Apapa faction don't own Labour Party and cannot take issues with them, and there is no need to give the people attention, while the Labour Party National Legal Advisor Kehinde Edun probed the Apapa faction, saying it is the Abure faction that the Independent National Electoral Commission recognized. Federal High Court in Abuja has restrained the national body of the People's Democratic Party from dissolving the State Executive Committee of the party in Rivers State over alleged anti-party activities. While delivering the judgment, Justice Inyang Ekwo said he found that the case of the plaintiff, Desmond Akawo, succeeded on merit. He said Desmond Akawo, the Rivers State PDP chairman, had sued the party, and Dr. Iyorchia Ayu, the immediate past national chairman of the party, alongside members of the National Working Committee and National Executive Committee, as first and second defendants, respectively. The plaintiff also joined the Independent National Electoral Commission as third defendant in the amended originating summons filed on March 9 by his counsel, Joshua Musa San. Akawo sought the court's determination on whether going by the provisions of Section 223 of the 1999 Constitution and Article 47, subsection 1 of the Constitution of the PDP, as amended in 2017, the Rivers SEC was not entitled to serve its term. He said he and other members of Rivers PDP SEC, LGA, executive committees and ward executive committees were elected and sworn in pursuant to the state's Congress held on March 21, 2020, and therefore entitled to complete their 4-year term, which expires on or about May 22, 2024. Reacting to the development on open conversation, socio-political analyst Andy Akpotive commended the decision by the PDP River State chapter as it was the right thing to do. He said it was a proactive move to stop the national board meddling in the state chapter's affairs in light of the presidential election squabble between national and states. Here are the highlights.
What they have done is what I thought done. So if you heard that we were going to take the rug off your feet, it behoves you to do everything possible. So they have gone to court to stop PDP National from dissolving them, stating that indeed the elections that took place in Rivers State producing the state working committee, all of the electoral officers were done in accordance with the Constitution and in accordance with the Nigerian Constitution. So for me, this is the right thing to do. It is only advised that there's a parable particularly that the person who is announced, the cripple that to announce war to does not get caught up in that war. If you say to a cripple that, oh, there will be war in another 4 months, he understands that because he's crippled, he must start making his way out of that territory so that he's not caught up in it. This is exactly what has happened with PDP. In Rivers, they have gone to court because they saw that there is imminent war ahead. Therefore, let's go to court and let us stop. I only have a challenge that when you go to court like this and you're getting this, do you also hear the side of the other people? Or you give these orders based on those who sought it?
Andy Akpotive urged the national body of the PDP to be careful of how it goes about trying to prosecute members of its organization to avoid further dismantling of the party at large.
The PDP is indeed this fracture because they failed to bring everybody together to prosecute their electoral party. Mm-hmm. If you did not do what you did during the election, I'm sure that every Nigerian understands that an article probably might have won the election, given what we saw. So, if you want to pursue that political madness to further, divide the party, because if you succeeded at doing that, at removing them, and they all moved to a different political party, because of the structure system that we have in Nigeria, there is only structure that delivers candidates, not your vote. Structures deliver candidates. And structure is equal to the amount of money you have and the amount of men that you have that you can deploy violently on election day. That's what structure is equal to. Now, if this structure that has been delivering for PDP in Rivers State in 1999 then move away to a different political party, what becomes of PDP? So I would only advise, I don't have any whatever for the political party APC and PDP. I think that in combination, the two political parties have helped to wreck Nigeria and brought Nigeria on its knees. They have helped to, bring this kind of deprivation, this kind of poverty, starvation, to Nigerians as a result of their ways of doing things, the PDP and the APC ways of doing things, right? But if I were to advise them, I would say there's nothing you can do other than go back to court and get a different judgment such that you can prosecute this methodologically. You can prosecute this with such brilliance that it doesn't further divide your political.
Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention says a total of 84 deaths have been recorded from cholera, while 2,860 people are suspected to have been infected with the disease from January to August 27, 2023. The situation report for weeks 31 to 34 revealed that 25 states across 124 local government areas reported the suspected cases, with a case fatality ratio of 2.9%, while describing cholera as an acute diarrheal illness caused by Vibrio cholerae bacteria, adding that people can get sick when they swallow food or water contaminated with cholera bacteria, and the infection is often mild or without symptoms, but can sometimes be severe and life-threatening. NCDC also said in Nigeria, cholera is an endemic and seasonal disease occurring annually, mostly during the rainy season and more often in areas with poor sanitation, while the cholera situation report showed that of the suspected cases since the beginning of the year, age groups less than 5 years are mostly affected, following by the age groups 5 to 14 years in aggregate of both males and females, and had also showed that of all suspected cases, 51% are males and 49% are females. The states that have reported the cases so far in the country are Zamfara, Cross River, Katsina, Bayelsa, Ebonyi, Niger, Abia, Jigawa, Kano, Ondo, Borno, Kaduna, Bauchi, Sokoto, Plateau, Gombe. Others are Oyo, Adamawa, Kebbi, Benue, Rivers, Ekiti, Imo, Osun, and Anambra State, while Zamfara had 787 cases, account for 28% of all suspected cases in the country of the 25 states that have reported cases of cholera. Obubra local government area, 515 cases in Cross River State, accounts for 18% of all suspected cases reported in the country. 21-day ultimatum issued by the organized labor for the federal government, to the federal government will end today, saying that it has no fears about a potential economic shutdown. This is despite last Monday's parley being deadlocked as both parties failed to see eye to eye on the labor union's demands over the removal of petrol subsidy. Minister of Labor Simon Lalong told State House correspondents after a private meeting with Vice President Kashim Shettima at the Aso Villa, Abuja, on Wednesday evening. Days earlier, Lalong met the organized labor in Abuja. However, both parties failed to reach a consensus as the Nigeria Labour Congress insisted that the FG must meet its demand ahead of the 21-day ultimatum it issued on September 1. The union had handed over the 21-day ultimatum over the delay in sharing palliatives, saying it might be compelled to declare an indefinite labor action if its demands were not met, adding that all is set for a total shutdown of the economy, which would start at the expiration of the ultimatum on Friday. National President of the NLC, Joe Ajero, and another official of the Labour Center, Hakeem Ambali, also did not reply to inquiries on the matter. Among other demands, the NLC and the Trade Union Congress are asking for wage awards, implementation of palliatives, tax exemptions and allowances to public sector workers, and a review of the minimum wage. Though the FG committed to restructuring the framework for engagement with organized labor on palliatives, the 8-week time frame set for the conclusion of the process expired in August with no action. Federal Road Safety Corps says a total of 5,700 crashes occurred within the first half of the year, 2023. FRSC also noted that the crashes claimed 2,850 lives as against 6,627 crashes that occurred in 2022 within the same period, leaving 3,375 dead, leaving 3,375 dead, adding that there is a 14% reduction in crashes when compared with that of last year, while there is a 15% reduction as well in the number of those who died from these accidents. It also said that 16,716 were recorded as being injured and rescued from accidents within this period, as against 19,440 rescued in 2022. Leaving behind a 14% reduction, the FRSC disclosed this in a statement by the Corps Public Education Officer, ACM, BC Kazim, at the FRSC headquarters in Abuja. The statement tagged a successful outing in the operational front during the first 6 months of the year, 2023. The Federal Road Safety Corps has recorded a decline in the total number of road traffic crashes, while the total number of injuries and fatalities can be compared with the same period in 2022. According to the FRSC Road Traffic Crash Dashboard, within the period under consideration, the Corps recorded a total of 5,700 road traffic crashes, as against 6,627 in the same period in the year 2022, representing a 14% decrease, while in the same vein, from January to June 2023, the Corps also achieved a 14% reduction in the number of people rescued with injuries, having rescued a total of 16,716 in 2023 against 19,440 injured victims in the first half of the year 2022. You are watching the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. We will be back after this break. Welcome back. This is the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. Now on to the rest of our stories. Federal government says it will mark the Independence Day anniversary of the country in a less ceremonial way. Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, who disclosed this while fielding questions from the State House correspondents after meeting with Vice President Shatima at the Presidential Villa, Abuja, says 63rd Independence Anniversary will be celebrated in low key. Here are the highlights.
Independence Day is a very historic event in the history of any country, and we in Nigeria are no exception. We are fully prepared for celebration, but for obvious reasons, it's going to be low-keyed. But we're wishing Nigerians the best of luck, and I want to assure them that better days are coming, pretty soon too. Well, this is going to be low-key. We are not going on fantastic jamboree in the Eagle Square and other locations. It's a time for reflection. It's a time for all of us to think very, very deeply about us as a people and the journey forward. And this journey is being charted appropriately by the captain of the ship.
Meanwhile, the 21-day notice given by Nigeria Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress leaders to the federal government to call its members out on an indefinite strike expires tomorrow. On this basis, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation urged the Labour leaders to join hands with the present administration at the federal level and be patient with the President in his commitment to turn the economy around and make Nigeria a better place for all.
Well, Labour leaders, very, very patriotic Nigerians, and we want to believe correctly that nobody would want to have a strike at this time of a history. It's not in the interest of the workers. It is not in the interest of anybody, because this government is very, very determined to ensure the raise in the standard of living of the Nigerian workers and to create prosperity for all. It is not something that can be done overnight. This government came into being on the 29th of May, and we have a tenure of 4 years. So it will be inappropriate to begin to judge on the basis of a few months that we have spent in the office.
The 15-man planning committee ahead of the nation's 63rd independence anniversary was inaugurated on Monday. The Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Benjamin Kalu, has assured that the 10th House of Representatives would ensure even distribution of intervention by authorities of Niger Delta Development Commission across the 9 member states, including Abia, Akwa Ibom, Bayelsa, Cross River, Delta, Edo, Imo, Ondo, and Rivers. Honorable Kalu gave the assurance during an interactive session with the delegation from Okwa People's Consultative Council, led by its President General, Sir Don Obani, while expressing concern over some issues raised by the delegation on the undue marginalization of Okwa as an oil-producing community. Kalu said, going forward, the House will audit the spread of projects and ensure equitable distribution around the 9 states. Here are the highlights.
I encourage you to continue in maintaining peace in Abia State, in Okwa, and in Niger Delta. It is a peace that will progress. It is a peace that our unity is enhanced. So it's a step in the right direction that you came, and I want to assure you. And what your request has done is to once again bring the light, the touchlight, on the oversight functions of the NDDC committee on NDC operations around the 9 states, and especially now in Abia State. We're going to look at their reports. What is it that they did not do well previously? especially in auditing the spread of projects equitably around the 9 states of the Federation. And I am from Abia, and I'm here today with the Speaker. So I'm promising you, now as the chairman of the House Committee of the Whole that considers reports of various committees of the House, special interest will be on this issue you have raised going forward. I will always ask a question on how equitably they balance the interventions.
Earlier, the leader of the delegation, Don Obani, solicited the support of the House leadership towards ensuring equity and fair distribution of developmental projects to Okwa oil-producing communities of Abia State. Obani said many years of oil exploration and exploitation has impacted negatively their community, making it difficult for farmers in Okwa Federal Constituency to farm effectively due to the diminished fertility of the soil, as well as the destruction of aquatic life. Here are the highlights.
We want to point out the fact that NDDC, Niger Delta Development Commission, is an interventionist agency created or established with the aim of making sure that oil-producing areas of the country who have been subjected to all manner of oil pollution, environmental degradation as a result of oil exploration and exploitation, at least will bring fresh air. Today, farmers in Okwa Federal constituency cannot farm effectively again because the fertility of the soil has been diminished because of many years of oil exploration and exploitation. Many of our people are fishermen. Today they cannot fish because oil exploration and exploitation has almost destroyed aquatic life. So there is trouble in the area. Since the federal government has thought it wise to establish the Niger Delta Development Commission, yes, most of the projects that we are earmarked for the area have been abandoned. We result that if you come into that place, you ask yourself, is this really an oil-producing area? So we are here to plead with you and all those that believe in fairness and justice to come to the rescue of our people.
Obani said there is need for equity, fairness, and justice in the distribution of developmental projects by the NDDC. According to him, this will help check situation that will create youth restiveness in the oil-producing community. Following the kidnap of 8 corps members in Zamfara State, the House of Representatives has engaged with the Director General of the National Youth Service Corps to ensure their freedom. Gunmen had abducted the 8 National Youth Service Corps members traveling in the Akwa Ibom Transport Company bus from Uyo, Akwa Ibom State to Sokoto State for the 1-year national service when their vehicle was intercepted by the hoodlums and have been in the den of their captors for over 30 days. Chairman of the committee, Honorable Martins Asin, said that the meeting became imperative as the House was worried by the situation and wants to know what the NYSC scheme is doing towards securing their release. Honorable Asin said the House is open to supporting the scheme and confident that Honorable Asin said that the House is open to supporting the scheme and confident that with the efforts and collaborations being made so far, the kidnapped corps members would soon be reunited with the family. Members of the committee also sought to find out what the NYSC is doing to improving the scheme. Here are the highlights.
We also like to know what the scheme is doing to mitigate this problem going forward. Because our oversight responsibilities is not just to tackle the presence, but we want a situation where we don't continue to talk about the same matter every time. So we'd like to also know what the scheme is putting in place going forward to see that we don't find ourselves in this kind of situation and just hear from you what you have done, the level of empathy you have shown in touching base with the families of these core members who have been in detention for more than 30 days. I want to know if there is any plan or program for core members after the 1-year mandatory program. If there is any exit plan for them so that after NYC, core members will not just be left on their own. Dealing with the current issue at hand, what are the measures we are equally putting in place that a recurrence of such issue does not happen? Because if you observe, this is not the first incident. There are other incidents of this nature that has happened before now.
The Director General of the NYSC, Brigadier General Yashau Ahmed, in his response said that the scheme has been interacting with the kidnappers and assured the House that they will soon be released. Here are the highlights.
We stayed there 2 or 3 days after, we were able to make contact with the bandits. But you know, this contact, we can never present ourselves as government officials or security agencies. It is contact that we're making in disguise as parents. Within this period, I've already made contact with the parents of these children, some of them. I have their phone numbers, like 3 or 4 of them. I've started talking with them, and I told them I'm on ground to see what was happening. They expressed their fear and their concern, and equally, they have expressed hope that me being there, something reasonable will come out of it.
The committee resolved that the NYSC management team should visit the families of the kidnapped core members and empathize with them. Now on to business news. Federal government says it has concluded partnership with the Nigerian Economic Summit Group to create opportunities for the private sector to lead a turnaround in the water, resources and sanitation sector. The Minister of Water, Resources and Sanitation, Professor Joseph Usev, who disclosed this in a statement at the end of a meeting with NESG members at his office in Abuja, stressed the significance of private sector engagement in realizing the ministry's goals and commended the Nigeria Economic Summit Group for its contributions to Nigeria's development. He pledged to collaborate closely with the group to accelerate the implementation of the ministry's water, resources and sanitation mandate to take Nigeria to the next level in tandem with the government's renewed hope agenda. Speaking at the meeting, NESG Chief Executive Officer Dr. Tayo Aduloju said, at the inception of the summit, the government and private sector had jointly established 6 fundamental principles as the basis for a modern economy and listed the principles as the principles of democracy, national interest governance, the rule of law, enabling business environment, private sector commitment, and free enterprise. He highlighted the pivotal role of the summit in driving transformation in Nigeria, some of which included the conceptualization of the global system for mobile pension reform, liberalization of the maritime sector, and numerous development plans. Association of Professional Women Bankers have partnered with the federal government to build a strong and prosperous economy that is built on sustainable policies. The chairperson of the group, Mrs. Funke Ladimeji, who disclosed this in her address at the annual general meeting of the association, said, as bankers and professionals in the broader financial services, our members are key actors in the growth and development of Nigeria, adding that the Association of Professional Women Bankers stands ready to join hands with the government of the day to build a strong, peaceful and prosperous Nigeria. Quoting Michelle Obama, wife of the former American president, the chairperson who also doubles as an executive director at Coronation Merchant Bank, maintained that no country can ever flourish if it stifles the potential of its women or deprives itself of the contributions of half of its citizens. The chairperson acknowledged the incredible role of the banking system and financial services in the growth of the economy, adding that the need for ministers to execute the renewed hope agenda as promised by the president. She also said the role of the Nigerian banking system and indeed the role of the broader financial services remains critical to the success of the Nigerian economy for both economic growth and development. You're still watching the news on Atlantic Television Network. Up next is the international tidbits. United Nations has drummed support for collective actions to promote sustainable peace in Nigeria. Peace and Development Advisor of the UN in Nigeria, Kimaris Tugud, made the call during the International Day of Peace ceremony organized by the UN Information Center in Abuja with the theme, Actions for Peace. Is often observed globally on September 21 of every year. The United Nations has drummed support for collective actions to promote sustainable peace in Nigeria. The advisor expressed appreciation to Nigerians for working closely with the UN to build a stronger and more peaceful country through tolerance and mutual understanding. Also speaking, Mrs. Fatima Baba, Director Co-Curricular of the FCT Secondary Education Board, commended the UN for putting the program together in the country, reiterated the need for peace globally, saying without peace, nothing could be meaningfully achieved, and there is a need for all to embrace peace as a way of life. According to her, where there is no peace, there could be chaos everywhere, and therefore it calls for adequate investment in education, because without education, society cannot be developed. International Organization of Migration says Libya's floods, which killed thousands in the city of Derna, also displaced more than 43,000 people. A tsunami-sized flash flood broke through two aging river dams upstream from the city after heavy rains slashed the area on September 10, while it raised the entire neighborhood, sweeping untold thousands into the Mediterranean Sea. The official death toll stands at more than 3,300. But the eventual count is expected to be far higher, with international aid groups giving estimates of up to 10,000 people missing. And urgent needs include food, drinking water, and mental health and psychosocial support. Mobile and internet service were restored Thursday after a two-day disruption following protests Monday that saw angry residents blame the authorities for the high death toll. Earlier this week, the United Nations warned that disease outbreaks could bring a second devastating crisis to the flood-hit areas, while the United Nations and agencies and the World Health Organization are concerned about the risk of disease outbreak, particularly from contaminated water and the lack of sanitation. Libya's Disease Control Center warned that mains water in the disaster zone is polluted and called on residents not to use it. One of Ukraine's staunchest allies, Poland, says it is no longer supplying weapons to its neighbor amid a diplomatic dispute over Kyiv's grain exports. Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki said Poland's focus was instead on defending itself with more modern weapons, while Poland has already sent Ukraine 320 Soviet-era tanks and 14 MiG-29 fighter jets, and has little more to offer. However, the remarks President Bola Tinubu has encouraged Nigerians in the United States to rise above failure by having a change of mindset for success in all their endeavors in life. Tinubu, who gave the advice at the presidential town hall meeting with Nigerians in the diaspora in New York, noted that Nigerians had no reason to be poor. The town hall meeting was organized by the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission on the sidelines of the 70th session of the UN General Assembly, where President Tinubu commended the efforts of government in tackling out of school children, the healthcare program, and the need to eradicate poverty despite the failures of government in leadership areas. Earlier, the chairperson of Nigerians in Diaspora Commission Abike Dabiri Erewa, introduced some Nigerians excelling in their chosen fields in the U.S. to the president, while some of them who spoke expressly expressed their delight in the leadership courage of the president, pledging to continue to support him in his efforts to reform Nigeria, and promised that they would continue to make Nigeria proud in their host country and also contribute their quotas to the development of their home country. In his remarks, the first Nigerian American elected into the United States Congress, Oye Owelowa, said 25% of business orders in the U.S. were black and 1.7% got federal contracts, while Owelowa, who represents Washington, D.C., said they have been supporting people to take advantage of such opportunities for their economic empowerment. India has stopped issuing visas to Canadian citizens amid an escalating row over the killing of a key separatist on Canadian soil. India said the temporary move was due to security threats, disrupting work at its missions in Canada, while Canada's visa services remain open in India. Tensions flared this week after Canada's leader said India may have been involved in the 18 June killing, and India angrily rejected the allegation, calling it absurd. Relations between the countries, key trade and security partners, and U.S. allies have been strained for months. India's government swiftly made clear the suspension of visa services also applies to Canadians in a third country. And now, entertainment news. Some fans in London, United Kingdom, on Wednesday night held a candlelight procession for late Nigerian rapper Irioluwa Oladimeji Aloba, a.k.a. Mohbad. The procession was held at Peckham Square in Peckham, South London, where Mohbad's SWL record label boss Naira Marley was brought up. The fans were seen singing the late rapper's songs in a video trending on the internet. The candlelight is coming after Mohbad died in a controversial manner on September 12, 2023. His death gained international attention after fans have taken to social media demanding a thorough investigation of his sudden demise. Famous Nigeria Afrobeat singer Damini Ebunoluwa Ogulu, popularly called Burna Boy, has cancelled his highly anticipated South Africa concert. The concert was scheduled to be held at the FNB Stadium in Johannesburg on 23rd of September 2023. Speaking on the development in a statement by his management on Tuesday, Burna Boy said the concert was cancelled off following the promoter's inability to meet their obligations. While apologizing to his fans, the management assured that all tickets would be refunded following the inability of the promoters to fulfill their contractual production, financial, and technical obligations, adding that production vendors have still not been paid, and as such, it is evident at this point that the agreed production standard needed for this venue size can be achieved. He sends his deepest apologies to all fans. All ticketing companies must ensure that it is refunded in full. Here now is ATN Sports News. Nigeria Olympic Committee has congratulated Nigerian sprint queen Toby Amusan for her incredible victory at the Diamond League. Amusan took the first position at the Oregon Diamond League, while the 100-meter women's hurdle record holder previously won the title in 2021 and 2022. Amusan won the race with a season's best time of 12.33 seconds, reacting the president of the NOC, Habu Ahmed Gumel, also thanked Amusan for staying focused on her goal. Gumel, in a congratulatory message released by Tony Neziaya, Public Relations Officer, NOC, said, "Your triumph in the face of adversity in particular is inspiring, and many thanks for staying focused on your goal and ultimately emerging as the undeniable champion, and her dedication, persistence, and relentless hard work are truly inspiring." He also said her achievement will undoubtedly inspire countless young athletes to follow in her footsteps and pursue their dreams with determination and passion. Nigeria head coach Joseph Pizarro says Victor Osimhen can win the Ballon d'Or in future. Osimhen is among the 30 players nominated for the 2023 Men's Ballon d'Or, while it would be difficult for the 24-year-old to win the prestigious award this year, going by the caliber of the players on the list, Pizarro is optimistic he will emerge tops in future. According to Pizarro, he has different characteristics than other players that are at the top at this moment, but he scores a lot as well, and the forwarder has also been nominated for the FIFA Best Men's Award. Nigeria's Super Eagles have a place in the latest monthly FIFA rankings. Jose Pizarro said trashed Sao Tome and Principe 6-0 in their last fixture, but the result didn't have any positive effect on the position on the ranking table. The Super Eagles, however, maintained 6th position in the Africa, while the Carthage Eagles of Morocco remain the top-ranked team on the continent. The North Africans are followed by the Terang Lions of Senegal, Carthage Eagles of Tunisia, Desert Foxes of Algeria, and Pharaohs of Egypt. World champions Argentina retain the #1 position on the ranking, while France, Brazil, England, and Belgium compete the top 5 teams in the world. And that's the global news for tonight. Before we go, another look at the major stories. Police in Rivers State arrest suspected NIN racketeers. Ohaneze decries beheading of LP chieftain Maduka in Abia. Khan whips over resurgence of kidnapping in Taraba State. FJ partners summit groups to improve water resources. UN calls for collective support effort towards international peace. Singer Burna Boy suspends South Africa show. Pizarro says Osimhen can win Ballon d'Or award. I am Besala Chiadamba. Thank you for watching. You can follow us on our social media platforms, Twitter at Atlantic TV Net, Facebook and YouTube at Atlantic Television Network, Instagram at Atlantic Television Network. And do remember that peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Do have a lovely night.